Excellent. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Melanie Wright, and I'm one of the co-founders of Next Group. Um, Wanted to thank everybody for joining us this evening. We have the distinct pleasure of having Carrie Cravallo here joining us this evening for this very exciting group coaching experience called Limiting Beliefs. I'm going to give a quick welcome and heads up, little bio on Carrie, and then we'll let her get started. What we're going to do this time and change it up a little bit from our last workshop is we're going to save sort of the a little bit about Next Group until the very end of the presentation and talk to you a little bit about a couple things and exciting things that are going on here at Next Group. But I want to thank everybody again for joining us. This workshop will run about an hour and a half, just so everybody can sort of plan their evening. And if for any reason you need to jump off, please just go ahead and go ahead and turn your video off. And we'd love for you to stay on. Know that things come up with family, and we want to be flexible and make this as interactive as possible. So again, welcome. Just want to do a quick intro for Carrie, and then I'm going to hand the mic over. Carrie Cravallo is a trained professional coach who helps high-achieving women and moms lead more empowered lives, both personally and professionally. Through one-on-one and group coaching, Carrie offers women a safe place to show up and vocalize their goals, needs, and desires without feeling guilty. In her coaching sessions, Carrie uses powerful questions to help her clients gain awareness of their patterns, limiting beliefs, and other blocks that they're putting in their way. She then supports her clients in expanding their view of what is possible and stands for their success by offering practices and accountability. Carrie currently resides in Sammamish, Washington, with her husband and two kids, ages 8 and 6. She enjoys hiking in the nearby mountains, going to cycling spin classes and reading. And Carrie's got a degree from Princeton, a bachelor's in econ, and also received an MBA from Kellogg, my alma mater and Candace's. Prior to coaching, Carrie worked in HR at both small tech and large tech companies. Without further ado, Carrie, I'd love to welcome you, and I will turn the mic over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Melanie. Really appreciate you inviting me to be part of this Next Group community and this experience tonight. I find it's always so powerful when people come together, so many talented people come together. So it's a real pleasure to be here today. And thanks to all the participants too for joining. I know it's the end of the day for many of you, end of the week also, and just want to acknowledge you up front for joining for this group coaching experience. And I wanted to just spend a moment talking about group coaching experience. We're going to talk about limiting beliefs in the context of that experience tonight, but what is that? What's a group coaching experience? So first, I want to talk about the coaching. What's coaching? And coaching is often confused with therapy and consulting. So I want to just take a few moments up front to share that in my own words. While therapy looks more to the past and perhaps some emotional trauma or things that have happened in our childhood, and consulting is grounded in more specific how-tos, as if I'm an expert advising you to do A, B, or C, to achieve X, Y, and Z. Coaching is really a powerful conversation, really designed to help you create the best life in the here and now and in the future. So it's present and forward-looking, and you are in the driver's seat. So to share an example, I personally worked with a coach when I was a stay-at-home mom. And at that time, I thought I was living out my dream, but I started noticing I had lost a sense of who I was and what I offered the world. And I didn't know what was next. So with coaching, I was able to ask myself questions that I really hadn't ever dared ask myself before and declare my true wants and goals for my future without feeling guilty. And at that time, the impact was incredible because I was able to finally give myself the space to focus on my own purpose, self-worth, and direction. I realized I'd been holding so much space for others, but coaching gave me that container or that space to really be present with my own thoughts. So that's a taste of what coaching is. Now, how does that translate into the experience that we're going to have tonight as a group? Well, someone once told me, they said, wow, Carrie, you must be such an expert to be coaching so many people. And I said, well, actually, no, I'm not the expert on people's lives. My clients are the experts on their own lives. They're the ones that have the answers, not me. My role is really to provide that safe place for exploration and facilitate the experience that allows the client to discover the new self-awarenesses and breakthroughs. So the experience for all of you tonight is to really sink into this safe place, make time for yourself, and be open to what you might learn about what's going on currently and how to move forward. And lastly, the group element. So throughout our evening together, you will be placed into breakouts with the same people. So there will be ample time to connect and support each other. And staying with the same people will also allow for stronger connections and the continuity of discussion. I know there's just so much wisdom and experience and knowledge in this room, and tonight's a great opportunity to learn from others. Lastly, I do want to share that with coaching, I take confidentiality very seriously. So you can be certain that anything shared tonight will not be shared further. And because there will be small group and large group sharing, like we are today, right now, in this together in this large group, I ask that you all uphold the same level of confidentiality with respect to what others are saying. And we are recording tonight's presentation, but the breakout segments will not be recorded. Okay. Okay, for those joining too, I just want to call attention to the chat. For the breakouts, we are going to be having some questions that you're going to be discussing. At your convenience, there's a link to a PDF. You can download that and print that out or have it available to refer to for notes. Okay, so given that this group is so central to our experience tonight, let's spend a little time up front getting to know one another. So in the chat box, I'd like to invite you to share, where are you located? Where are you dialing in from tonight? And what do you do professionally right now? I invite you to share that in the chat box. Met. Well, Calgary. Illinois, definitely very well represented. Chicago, Evanston, great. Kansas City. Cool. Hi, Lisa from San Francisco.
Another Kellogg alum.
Oh, hi there.
Yeah, Annapolis.
Yep. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's nice to have such a variety of locations here that I'm seeing as I scroll up, as well as different professions, different career paths, and some of you in transition. Terrific. Okay. Oh, great. So great to have such a variety of people here. Thank you so much. And also, I wanted to also get a better sense of why you're here. What brought you here tonight? So when you get a chance, thank you, Candace. Thank you, Melanie or Candace. We have a poll here. Curious, why are you here tonight? I'm here to learn and be curious. I'm at a crossroads. Maybe you're stuck. Want to gain control of your thoughts. Let's see. Okay, I see a lot of all of the above. Yeah. A couple more respondents coming in. Okay. Super. Thank you so much for sharing that. So tonight for sure, so glad you're here to learn and be curious. Maybe you're at a crossroads or feeling stuck, and all the above. We will be able to cover a lot of those topics and hope that you'll walk away feeling like you have learned something. So with that, Melanie, if you don't mind moving to the next slide, and I will share what our experience will be tonight. Okay, so we're going to start with an overview of limiting beliefs, what they are, where they come from. And then we're going to get into the main essence of our time, breakout discussions and large group sharing. And then at the end, we'll end with some large group reflection, a couple last tidbits of information, and then hear some more from next group. Okay, thank you, Melanie. We can go on. Okay, so limiting beliefs, what are they and where do they come from? Well, I wanted to start with a story about elephants. So the story goes like this. A gentleman was walking through an elephant camp, and he spotted that the elephants weren't being kept in cages or held by the use of chains. All that was holding them back from escaping the cage was a small piece of rope tied to one of their legs. As the man gazed upon the elephants, he was completely confused as to why the elephants didn't just use their strength to break the rope and escape the camp. They could easily have done so, but instead they didn't try to at all. Curious and wanting to know the answer, he asked a trainer nearby why the elephants were just standing there and never tried to escape. The trainer replied, "When they are very young and much smaller, we use the same size rope to tie them. And at that age, it's enough to hold them. As they grow up, they are conditioned to believe they cannot break away. They believe the rope can still hold them, so they never try to break free. They believe the rope can still hold them, so they never try to break free." So, what is the moral of this story? Does anyone want to come off mute and perhaps share what they're taking away from this elephant story?
I'll start. I
Hi.
love
Is
Hi.
this Hi, Lisa?
Can you hear me? Is my sound okay?
Yes, Lisa. Yeah.
I'll just start the discussion. I got a little choked up listening to you tell the story because it resonated so much. Just how the limiting beliefs come from way long ago, and there's things that we still believe even though they don't necessarily make all that much sense, and they don't serve the purpose anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. They come from long ago, and only now we know they don't serve that purpose. I'll take one more share. Anyone else want to share what they're taking away from that story?
Yeah, I think, sorry, it's Daria. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, hi, Daria.
Hi, I think you just carry these beliefs from your childhood. I mean, I do, and they definitely, keep me from going forward because, they give me like a lot of insecurities from when I grew up.
Yeah, thanks, Daria. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Lisa and Daria, for sharing. Yeah, these elephants, the only reason they weren't breaking free is they had just adopted this belief that it just wasn't possible. So shifting from elephants back to us as humans and our limiting beliefs, have you ever felt stuck? Or are you clear about your goals and your dreams, but feel like you just aren't making any progress? Or have you ever doubted yourself? If you answered yes, or even maybe to one of these questions, then limiting beliefs are definitely likely to be part of the picture. So, what is a limiting belief? So, by definition, it's a state of mind, a conviction, or a belief that you think to be true that limits you in some way. So, putting that another way, limiting beliefs are thoughts about yourself or even your circumstances that just lurk in the background, ultimately informing your choices and convincing you that you aren't good enough in some area. So, some examples might be I'm bad with numbers, or I'm not qualified for that job because I don't have the right skills. I'm getting too late in my career, or too far down one career path to even make a change. I don't know how to say no. I'm not spending enough time with my child. So those are just a few examples of limiting beliefs. But of course, we're all different. We all have a different flavor of them. And another way to explore this is through these lenses. Take a look at unhealthy patterns in your life and or recurrent challenges. Could a limiting belief be at the root cause of those? Or perhaps a time you might have reacted negatively to something. Could a limiting belief be involved there? So, as Lisa mentioned earlier in her share, these limiting beliefs, where do they come from? Well, not surprisingly, they come from early in life, right? As kids, we're like sponges. We pick up on limiting beliefs held by our parents, teachers, other figures, even our environment and surroundings, society stereotypes, others' opinions, things we've experienced ourselves. The author Louise Hay wrote, if you accept a limiting belief, then it will become a truth for you. So, with all that said, the goal, of course, is not to let these limiting beliefs become truth. The goal is to gain your power back from these limiting beliefs and create a more empowering experience. And so that is what we're going to do tonight. So, Melanie, if we progress to the next slide, please. Great, thank you. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get insight into the limiting beliefs that we have. So shortly, everyone's going to be asked to join a breakout room. And during the breakout, please spend about 10 minutes or so reflecting and sharing with the group. The things I want you to reflect on in this first segment of getting insight is first thinking about events and situations. What is an event or situation that's causing you to feel challenged or stuck? Then with respect to that event or situation, what are you believing that is making your situation so difficult? And then understanding, are you present to where this limiting belief comes from? So to support you in these breakouts, I will paste again in the chat a document that you're welcome to reference or even print out and take notes on. That is going to be exact copy of these questions here, so you'll be able to use them as a tool. So I'll paste that again now. And Melanie is going to work on creating the breakouts for us. Thank you, Melanie.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly go ahead and just automatically assign folks to breakout rooms. We've got 19 folks on the call right now, so I'm going to go ahead and create, let's do six or seven breakout rooms. Does that sound okay, Carrie?
Sure, that sounds good.
And all rooms are open now to go ahead and join.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the large group. So just wanted to check in terms of in the space of this large group and just put out in the space. What did anyone notice anything interesting about the limiting beliefs that they were identifying for themselves? Was there a pattern, perhaps a theme? Would anyone like to share what they noticed?
I'll share.
Thanks, Lisa.
I'm vocal today. What I noticed in our triad, everybody's situation was really different, but yet we all resonated with each other. Like we had similar limiting beliefs, even though our situations were really different.
Ah,
And we could really help each other because of that.
okay. Thanks for sharing that. I'm curious, did they also all stem kind of from a similar place, you know, in the sense of understanding? Are you present to where this limiting belief comes from?
I don't know. I don't know if we got that far. We ran out of time.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. What about another group? Is anything surprising? Anything you noticed when you were able to really think closely about situations that are causing you to kind of limit your belief in yourself? Okay. All right. Well, if anything comes up, by all means, please. Oh, Daria, did I see you go off mute?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say with my group, we actually had very different experiences.
Ah,
But I think it, most of the time is, again, as I said, something that that you carry from a long time ago. Like in my situation, it's like, I always was treated like the dumb one in the family, the one that was not smart enough. And like to this day, I carry that, which is really unfortunate. But it's like, at least I have, I have defined it. Like I know, I know that that's what I'm working with. And
yeah,
I try to kind of overcome that.
yeah.
But with my other teammates, I guess like it was more, I think they were dealing more with beliefs of from that came from experiences. Like like my future is not going to be as good as my past, that kind of thing. So anyway,
For
that
sharing. Yeah, one thing I want to throw out there is that, these limiting assumptions and beliefs that we have about ourselves in this world, they do have a purpose in some way, right? They are meant to protect us from perceived danger. So I do want to make sure, just kind of put that out there. Remember how those ropes tied to the elephant's feet protected them when they were young? Our limiting beliefs can also serve as protection for us as well. They protect us from getting hurt. And while these limiting beliefs could play a role in protecting us in the short term, they also make us believe these things that simply aren't true in the long term. So net, they make us small, right? They shrink our potential, they shrink our possibilities. And we don't want to feel small, right? We want to feel big and we want to feel expanded. So the good news is that we don't have to let them keep us confined. We don't have to let these beliefs keep us feeling small. The power of our potential really comes from expanding outward when we just do not let the beliefs and these thoughts confine us. So that moves us on to the next section called Gain Perspective. Thank you, Melanie. So we've identified what some of these limiting beliefs are. But in the next section, I want you to really get curious, almost kind of get like your investigator hat on, and really look closely at them. First, it's some facts. Here are some just prompting things to consider. Is this limiting belief a fact, or is this an interpretation? Was there a time you didn't believe it? And this is also an interesting one to think, what evidence do you have to actually disprove this? Oftentimes we think it's just all encompassing this limiting belief, but what evidence actually is out there that says, no, this limiting belief isn't true? And then I want you to get really present to the consequences. What is holding on to this limiting belief resulting in, behavioral or emotional for you? How is it truly holding you back? And what's impossible for you to do in your future if you continue to hold on to this limiting belief? And how does that make you feel? So in this next period of time with your groups, we'll spend 10 minutes together again. I just invite you to really be honest with yourselves and really just take a closer look at the facts, consequences, and the reality of these beliefs. So Melanie, thank you so much for helping us move back into the same groups.
So the difference between column 2 and 3 is a short-term consequence and a long-term consequence, potential consequence.
Thank you for that question. Yeah, exactly. In the short term, what is the consequence of you holding on to this limiting belief? So if I have the limiting belief that I'm not smart enough, okay, if that's the limiting belief that I have, what the consequence of me holding on to that is, gosh, like if I show up in a group, I might feel really tense. I might feel really stressed, or I might be just really emotional about it at night, just cycling and cycling and cycling on it. Now, the reality of this is what is impossible for me to do in my future. If I keep moving about life thinking that I am not smart enough, well, what's impossible for me to do? There's a ton that's impossible for me to do if I have that belief. I might not try to learn new skills or go into a new career or, try a new hobby or something. So consequences can be shorter term, and the reality is the larger, kind of bigger picture. Welcome back, everybody. We'll wait for a couple more groups to close and join us.
See that. Oh, did you hear that? That was weird. Meg?
Hi, Laura. Is that you, Laura?
Hi. Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, great. We're all now, I think, back in the main room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so all the breakouts are back, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm curious, when you all were in those recent conversations, was it easy or difficult to find evidence to disprove your belief?
I'll share.
Thanks, Casey.
Of course. So this is one of the things that really stood out for me is when we both started talking about the consequences. It was so obvious, and both of us didn't hesitate that the limiting belief was not serving us. I could just feel the confidence from Lisa, and she didn't even have to think about it for a second of like, of course, this is holding me back. So it was really special in that way.
Thanks for sharing. What about some other groups? Did anything shift in terms of the energy with your conversations as you were really kind of becoming more closer face to face with the consequences at all?
Well, I think we went a little bit to the extreme where we decided that we just have to be positive and doggone it, just forget these limiting beliefs and we've got to have a positive attitude.
What does that look like to you, Gail? What does having a positive attitude look like?
Well, I think for me, I think it's a matter of, looking for those ways to deny the limiting belief and to disprove them and to realize the consequences and that sort of thing. Yeah, we didn't get too deeply into that piece of it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so at this point, we've gained insight, we've got an insight, we've gained some perspective now. So I think it's probably safe to say we all know that these limiting beliefs, they're not 100% true, right? But we also still know that they stop us, right? They stop us from living the life that we want. So what's next? So what's next is to create a different script. What's next is to create a new story, a new way. Oh, thank you, Melanie. If we move to the next slide. Thank you. To create a new narrative. So in life, there's a lot of times where we can choose from fear, or kind of choose from the past, or we can choose from possibility. And we can choose for moving towards the future. So as you've identified these limiting beliefs, you've come face to face and what they're holding you back. I'd invite you to declare for each limiting belief, what is a new belief that you want to declare for yourself? What's a new belief? So an example for this would be, when I feel afraid, I can choose to feel excited instead. Or I'm responsible for the life that I create. Or I'm capable of picking up new skills in support of this job. Perhaps it's saying no means saying yes to something else. Or, I am a present mother who does the very best she can to have quality time with my children. So you notice these are all declarations. It's a way of reframing and coming more from a place of possibility. And so when you do that, when you declare this new belief, what then becomes possible in your life? And what does that feel like when this new possibility exists? And then lastly, and perhaps most importantly, I want you all to think about then, what is one action you can take that comes from this new belief, right? So we do want to be in action here too. We want to have the self-awareness, the perspective. You have this new declaration of the belief, but then what are you going to actually do with it? If you say, I am capable of picking up new skills in support of, applying for this new job, what's one action that you're going to take in the next month that ties back to that belief that you are capable of picking up new skills? And write that down. When we write down the actions, when we write down the things that we want to do, it becomes so much easier to do them when they're written down. And then also, what do you need to hold yourself accountable? Already in this experience, you now have a cohort of people in your breakout. What do you need from each of them perhaps to hold you accountable? What do you need from a partner or a family member? So we'll spend just about 8 more minutes in the last breakout before we come back for some acknowledgement and conclusion. But as you move to this new breakout, going with the mindset of here you are to create a new narrative, what's possible moving forward?
Okay, all rooms have been open, so everybody can rejoin their existing rooms.
Myself that's the case.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So we got into declarations and actions. And would anyone like to share a newly declared belief that, oh, a couple more people are coming in, apologize. I'll repeat that. Now that we have everyone back, would anyone like to share in the larger group here a newly declared belief that they've come up with in this session, and then also the corresponding action that you've created for yourself?
I'll share, Carrie.
Thanks,
You can.
Candace.
I mean, I was in a group of one, me, myself, and I. So, but I did come up, or it was a group of three, me, myself, and I. I did. We fought a lot, but we came up with my limiting belief has been for a very long time that my value is derived from what I do, that, accomplishment. So it's led to, you have to do more, achieve more to be valued. So, which is, not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's growing up, teach kids that, what they do is a reflection of who they are, right? But in like anything else, in large numbers, it becomes troublesome. So, so my new belief is, I am valuable based on who I am, not just what I do. So, and then action is really a little bit more of inaction. Trying to be aware and observe when I should stop doing things so that others can, or let the vacuum be okay of just being in space, and just being is okay. Like just sitting sometimes is okay.
Yeah, being with whatever is. Yeah. What will happen, Candace, if you notice yourself slipping back into your old ways? What is something you could do to hold yourself accountable to stay in that inaction, if you will?
Oh, I mean, I slip into my old ways every day. You can ask any of the people on this call. What can I do? I do it more on brief, kind of what I can do in moments, like stopping, be meditative, breathe, those types of things. I think more to disrupt that sense of go, 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 or chaos. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm sure there are other things. If you have suggestions, let me know.
That's great. Great self-awareness. How about anyone else? Would anyone else like to share a new belief in the action they've come up with today?
Hi, Carrie. I'll share.
Hey, Stacy.
So one of my declarations was to stop the negative self-talk about not being a good person. And that I constantly I used to attract like the wrong kind of guy. And that in my past, and that I would declare that I am a good person with a lot to offer, and just come up with a list of the things that I can offer. And then I'll attract somebody that matches my energy. And so the thing I liked about this and holding myself accountable to this thought is that the disempowering versus empowering thoughts. And we talked about that in the group, is if it's an empowering thought, is it something that's going to get you where you want to be, or is it a disempowering thought? And we talked about that, and then we talked about interpretation versus fact. And yeah, clearly I'm fun and I have a lot to offer, but I don't believe it. So maybe if I can remind myself that that's my own interpretation, that'll help keep me accountable.
Yeah.
To my belief and my declaration.
Thank you for sharing, Stacy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Is there one more person who'd like to share before we move to our wrap up? Not, that's okay too. Okay, so Melanie, if we could please just transition. Thank you so much. So just to wrap up this portion of our breakouts, I just want to invite you to consider, as humans, we like to create these stories in our heads, right? We start to believe that all this stuff about ourselves is true, and these beliefs can take over. But these are just thoughts. They're valid, they can be named, but they don't have to run the show. So you can create this new narrative, a new story, a new belief that empowers you moving forward. So at the end of the day, remember this: insight plus action equals results. Insight plus action equals results. So today you gain the insight and perspective on the limiting beliefs that you have. And then from there, you declared a new belief and created an action. So what's next are the results. And I love, oh, thanks, Melody. If you go, there we go, great. Actually one more back, and Melanie, was there the quote, or was that? Yes, I love this quote from Henry Ford. Oh, that's okay. The quote is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Okay, so please take this thought along with you, along with all the other value that you've created for yourself tonight. And as we wrap up, I just invite you to just spend maybe 5 minutes after this session, just writing down, what was your key takeaway from the session tonight? What value did you create for yourselves? And just to really capture that now before life gets busy again, and before, tomorrow is Friday and we go about our days. So in closing, I wanted to first just thank you all so much for being here, part of this experience. I know group coaching experience perhaps is new for a lot of people, and I hope you could see the power in communicating with others, learning from others, kind of putting words behind your thoughts out loud, and really just getting curious with your own self, with your own thoughts, and moving forward. A couple things that will be happening moving forward. So you will be receiving a follow-up email that has a link to the recording. It's also going to have a link to a feedback form. And we'd love to hear how this session was for you so that we can continue to bring programming that is valuable to you. And then also, as part of this group coaching experience, I'd love to offer each one of you who's on the call today a one-on-one, 1 hour complimentary coaching session. And this would be an opportunity to continue the discussion on limiting beliefs or explore any other topic. Really, anything is on the table with coaching. So please reach out to me if you would be interested in that. My email is there, carrie@cravallocoaching.com. My website's cravallocoaching.com. And then also next week on April 27th, same time, same place in Zoom, we'll have a similar experience around the topic of spring clean your life. So with that, I do want to turn it over to Next Group, our gracious sponsors for this event tonight, to share more about what's going on in their world. So Candace, over to you.
Great. Thank you so very much, Carrie. That was, you can see it in the comments, but extremely valuable, I feel like, for all of us. And I know it's hard. Thank you for everyone who's here to stick with this kind of work, which isn't, it's not just the spray and pray kind of event. You've got to be in it. And so thank you for being with us and being open and vulnerable. I just wanted to, before we let you all go to all those many things that you need to do, for those who are new to Next Group, wanted to say welcome. We would love to have you part of our network. And Next Group is basically two different pieces of the same pie. One side is this community of women, community of, and some men. So the men who are in the room tonight, you are more than welcome. And a community that supports other folks as they go on that journey of how, what's next for them, whether that's relaunching careers after having had a break, whether that's pivoting careers, or it's actually just kind of transitioning or advancing in your career. So that's that's a big part of who we are, and women helping other women and providing support. And then the other way we help our talent network is we are a search and placement firm. So, you know, we enable and support women, folks in our talent network and beyond, to connect up with employers who are committed to an inclusive and diverse workforce. So want to take advantage of the talent of various communities, including obviously women, including folks that are relaunching careers, including professionals of color. That is a priority for them. So we work with them. So I would just invite you, I included several links in the chat, and we will send these. One person asked about in the email. We will send these in the email after, and invite you to join Next Group. It's free if you aren't already a part of our talent network, and that's very easy. There, you just go to our website and sign up. And if you don't have all the requisite information like a resume, that's okay too. That will just get you access to communications about these types of events and job opportunities that we're working on. And then look at our upcoming events, as well as programs. We have, after next week, the next event we are hosting, and we don't have the invite out yet, but do look for this, is for those of you who are in the Chicagoland area, is an in-person event that we're doing in the city, our first one downtown Chicago in River North, and it's called Moms in Motion, Navigating Parenting and Career with Confidence. And what we're hoping to do there is kind of have a cross stage, I would say, I don't like to say generational, but cross stage group of women and men who are parents, and, you know, with folks who are just going on that journey, learning from other folks in a panel who have been there and have children and families at various stages, and how their career adapted and changed to meet those very important needs. So would love to see you there. That's going to be on May 18th, and we'll get out the details very soon. And so that's all. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew, you know, broadly what Next Group is. If you have employers, we want you part of our network. And if you are employed or have employers who you know that are looking for an amazing group of people, and especially women, to help them get to what's next in their business, please send them our way as well. I would love to connect with everyone on LinkedIn if we aren't already, so we can keep this conversation going. Thank you so much. And again, thanks to Harry and Melanie.
You guys, thank you so very much. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And if anybody's got any follow-up questions, we'll stay on for the next few minutes. Have a great evening, everybody.
Take care. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.